Hi everyone. Hopefully your preparation is going well. These are the questions we are going to try in today's episode. If you have tried these questions, then go ahead and watch the solutions and discussion related to it, which will be starting right away. And if you have not tried it, we'll recommend you to try it once before you watch the solutions. Before we start discussing the solution, let me take a moment to introduce some fascinating courses at Macrotree. Simply visit our website and check the plethora of options we provide for CAT, GMAT, and other aptitude test preparation. We strongly believe in providing flexibility and convenience to students as per their requirements. You will have an option to either take a full course or learn exactly what you need to. For instance, if you plan to prepare one-to-one live with mentor, you can book sessions for only doubt clearing or even just for analyzing your mocks. Even for CAT preparation, if you don't need the one-to-one guidance, the mocks, the mock analysis, the workshops, or the GDPI, which are actually included in the comprehensive course, and you just want to train for specific topics of your choice, then simply select a capsule from these numerous options which are available to you. It will cover everything from basics to all variations and applications of the topic under study. Take a trial or book a demo with us and select the course which best suits your needs. Let's now continue with today's video and enjoy the solution and discussion related to it. The question is based on similarity because first of all, I hope that you notice that this DE is parallel to BC. So if the DE is parallel to BC, that automatically makes this angle D, angle B equal, this angle E and angle C equal. And obviously A is a common angle between this triangle and this entire triangle. So these two triangles are definitely similar. So let me just take these two triangles outside. So we don't definitely know that this ADE triangle, this one, is similar to the entire triangle, the ABC. This is very easy to identify, I hope. So let me just keep that as a note. So we have this triangle ADE and triangle ABC. These two are similar. So I'm just writing the corresponding vertices together. So what I mean by that is A and A are corresponding vertices, D and B are corresponding vertices, and E and C are corresponding vertices. So that is the correspondence. Now, interestingly, it also says that this angle AFE is equal to angle ACB. So this angle AFE and this ACB are equal. Now, notice this triangle and the entire triangle. So if you notice these two triangles, we already have this AFE equal to ACB, and angle A is anyhow common. So if we take this perspective, let me again take these two triangles outside, or rather the AFE one. Yeah, so if you consider this AFE triangle now, so this F angle is equal to this, sorry, this C angle. So these two angles are equal, and A is anyhow a common vertex. So these two angles are anyhow equal. So making the third angle also equal. So what we know is this ABC triangle is also similar to this AEF triangle. So I'll just name it properly. What I mean by that is uh, when I take the vertex A, I'll keep it corresponding to the vertex A of ABC. So I'm just looking at these two. When I take F, it should be equal to the C. So the F should correspond to the C, which leaves E corresponding to B. So now once I name these triangles properly, it is easy for me to identify the corresponding sides. So let me just take these things off and then I'll carry on with the solution. So we have these three things, these three triangles, which are similar to each other, and I've taken the correspondence properly. So the angle, the vertices A have the angles same. This D, B, E with the respective triangle have the same angle and so on. Now, as I was mentioning, it is easy to identify the corresponding sides. Now, let's look at the objective first. So we are looking for the length of DF. So this DF is not part of either of these three triangles, right? So the DF is part of this DEF. So let's not overcomplicate here. But notice something that this AF is part of this AEF triangle, this one, and the AD is actually part of this ADE triangle. So if I can manage to figure out the lengths of these two, so if I can figure out AD and AF, just by taking a difference, I can figure out DF, right? So let us try to do that. First of all, let's focus on AD. AD is very simple. If you notice the original triangle, so the bigger one, so ABC triangle, all the three sides have been given. So AB is 5. So for this triangle, AB is 5, BC is 12, and AC is 10. Additionally, what we know is this AE is to EC is 1:4. So if I look at this ratio, so this ratio is applicable for both these two triangles. And I think these two triangles only. See, what I mean by that is, if I pick up AE for the first triangle and AC for the second triangle, they become corresponding sides. Just look at the name, it's easy to identify. But if you notice these two triangles, although there is an AE here, but AE is actually corresponding to AB, not to AC, right? AF is corresponding to AC. So let us focus on this triangle first. So AE is 1/5. So this is AE is to EC, by the way. Don't mess this up. In the given information, it is AE is to EC. So AE by AC, that should be 1/5. So knowing this, so this is about the first two triangles. So let us use this ratio to figure out, first of all, AD. So AD in this triangle will be corresponding to AB in the second triangle, right? So AD and AB. So let us look at this AB here. So this is 5. So AD should be 1/5 of that, just using this ratio. 1. So this is very easy to identify. But remember, we also need to identify the value or figure out the value of AF. Now, AF will be corresponding to AC. So now I'm comparing this triangle 2 and this triangle 3. So AC and AF is corresponding. But what value do we know to compare? So for the second triangle, I know all the three sides. Third triangle, I actually know the value of AE, right? So AE is actually 1/5 of AC. So AC is given to us as 10. So the AE value is 2. So this is known to us, right? So for triangle 2 and triangle 3, we know that AE is corresponding to AB, right? So AE and AB, whichever I know, I'm trying to use that. So I have a ratio of 2/5. And since now we are looking for AF, so now just look at these dashes. So AF out of AC. So AF by AC should also be in this ratio, right? So AF by AC should also be 2/5. And since AC is known to us as 10, so that gives us AF as 4. So just use this ratio. So now we got our objective. So we have the value of AD and we have the value of AF. Simply taking a difference, we'll get the answer. So this is 4 and this is 1. So leaving 3 centimeters for DF. So that should be the answer to this problem. This question is pretty straightforward. We can use the options for solving this question straight away. So we have the equation of a line passing through this point, first of all. So just use the options to verify whichever point, whichever line this point may lie on. So just substitute and check whether the equation is satisfying or not. So for example, in the first equation, 3 into 1, so x is 1, y is -6. So 3 minus 6 is -3. So this satisfies. 9 minus 6 is actually 3 for the second option. 9 into 1 and then -6, so that is 3. 4 into 1 and -6, so that is adding to -2, and then +2 is actually 0. So each of the options are actually satisfying. D is either B or C, so we are not worried about it as of now. So look at the second condition. So this particular information is useless in this question. Actually, all the options are anyhow satisfying. But the product of whose intercepts on the axis should be 1. So the x-intercept and the y-intercept should be multiplying to give us 1, right? So the product should be 1, something like that. So just use the options in this case as well. In order to calculate x-intercept, the easiest way to do that is just put y equal to 0. And to calculate y-intercept, just put x equal to 0. So we are going to do this. So if I put x equal to 0 in the first equation, I get y-intercept as -3, the first option. And if I put y as 0, so the x-intercept is coming out to be -1. Now these two are not multiplying to 1, so this is out. Second option, option B, if you put y as 0, then x-intercept comes out to be 1/3, 3/9. So the x-intercept is 1/3, I'm writing in short. And the y-intercept, if you put x as 0, is coming out to be 3. Now this is actually giving us a product of 1. But since we have an option like either B or C, it is we should be checking this third option as well. So let's do that. So if I put y as 0, so x-intercept will be -2/4. So the x-intercept comes out to be -1/2. And if I put x as 0, so y comes out to be -2. Again, -1/2 and -2 also gives us a product of 1. So this is also satisfying along with option B. So answer should be option D out here. We have 10 points which are plotted on a plane such that no 3 of them are collinear. So no 3 of them lie on a straight line. 4 of these points are joined to each of the remaining 6 points. and each of the remaining 6 points is joined to exactly 5 points. Now, this is very interesting. Now, think about the connection. How is this getting connected? So let's name the points in this way. So we have 4 points, P1, P2, P3, P4, and we have these 6 points, P5, P6, P7, P8, P9, and P10, let's say. So these are the points here. I'm not drawing the points, I'm just allocating in this manner. So first of all, it says 4 of these points. So let's say these 4 points are each connected to the remaining 6 points. So P1 is connected to all of the P5 to P10, same with P2, same with P3, same with P4. So each of these points are connected to P5 to P10, right? So connected to the remaining 6 points. Now, it also says each of the remaining 6 points is joined to exactly 5 points. Now, first of all, before I get into that information, what does this information tell me? See, P1 is connected to P5, P2 is connected to P5, P3 is connected to P5, P4 is connected to P5. That has already been mentioned, right? So what we know is this P5 is connected to everything from P1 to P4. Same thing for P6, same thing for P7, P8, P9, and P10, right? So everything is actually connected to P1 to P4. By everything, I mean every of these 6 points. But the information tells us that the remaining 6 points is joined to exactly 5 points. So each of these points are connected to 5 points. These are 4 points. So it means that P5 should be connected to one of these remaining 5 points. So for example, P5 is anyhow connected to these four. So it has to be connected to one of these five, right? So let's assume that P5 is also connected to P6. Now, if P5 is connected to P6, that automatically makes P6 connected to P5, right? So P6, the 5 points that P6 is connected to, we already figured it out. So this is P1 to P4. So I just put a check mark for that. So P1 to P4 are 4 points and it is connected to P5. So that makes 5 points, right? So similarly, if P7 is connected to 5 points, there are 4 points already here, P1 to P4. Additionally to that, it has to be connected to something else. It cannot be connected to P5 or P6, right? Because this is already 5 points here and 5 points here. So P7, let's assume that it is connected to P8. That makes P8 also connected to P7. So something like this is happening, right? Similarly, P9 can be connected to P10 and P10 can be connected to P9. So this is just a random allocation. I'm just trying to visualize this as simply as possible. So what is the question looking for? You're looking for how many line segments are actually formed. So let us first figure out the connections between these two groups. So each of these 4 points are connected to each of these 6 points. So that makes a total of 4 into 6, that is 24 connections between the first group. So let's say G1 and G2, something like this. So between G1 and G2, we have a total of 24 connections, right? So 24 line segments here. And it is also mentioned that within G2, so inside G2 itself, there are certain connections. So understand between inside the group G1, there is no connection in between the points, right? So P1, P2, P3, P4 are not connected to each other. But inside G2, there are some connections remaining. So what are the connections? So we have a connection of P5 and P6. We have a connection of P7 and P8. And we have a connection of P9 and P10, right? So that's a total of 3 more connections. So additionally to these 24 connections, we have 3 more connections here, giving us a total of 27 connections or 27 line segments in this manner. Okay, so this is basically talking about parallel chords and length or distance between the parallel chords. So whenever there's a question related to distance between the parallel chords, try to find the distance of chord from the center of the circle. So what I'll do is I'll just start by drawing a random circle out here. And let me draw up a chord also. And let me assume the center is somewhere here. So let's say this is the distance of the center to the chord, right? So I hope you know this idea, and this is the idea that we're going to use in this problem any which way. So if I have this figure, so see, because these two are radii, so this entire figure is an isosceles one. So whenever we drop a perpendicular, this bisects the chord, right? So this will be on the midpoint of the chord, or this is basically bisected. So let us solve this using this idea. So first we have the radius as 25 any which way. The two chords that we have are of length 40 and 30. So let's first take the 40 centimeter one. So the entire length is 40, so this should be 20, this length, and just use Pythagoras or Pythagorean triplet. So in this case, I hope you can see this is 4 into 5 and 5 into 5. So this value should be 3 into 5, right? So the distance of the 40 centimeter chord from the center is basically 3 into 5, or basically 15, right? So I'm just using the triplet 3, 4, 5. So this is 5 into 5 and 4 into 5, leaving this 3 into 5 as 15 centimeter or something. So this is 15 centimeter. Similarly, if I consider the second chord, so the only change is that this becomes 30 centimeter, right? So if this is 30 centimeter, again, this is No, sorry, my bad. The entire thing is 30 centimeters, so this should be 15 centimeter. Now again, use the triplet. This is 5 into 5 and 3 into 5. So this leaves 4 into 5 out here. So distance of the 30 centimeter chord from the center is basically 4 into 5, right? Just using the triplet again. So that is 20 centimeter. So this is these are the distances of these two chords from the center. So now think about the relative placement. So one thing we know for sure is these two chords are actually parallel to each other. So there are two possibilities actually. One is that both of these chords are lying on the same side of the center. So something like this happens. So if this happens, then there will be one distance of 15 from the center and 20 from the center. So making a distance between the chords as 5 centimeter. So this is one possibility. If they are lying on the same side of the center, then the distance between these two chords should be 5 centimeter. The other possibility is if I have the two chords lying on two different sides of the center. So on the other side of the center, something like this. So let me just make this a little smaller. And in this case, if you consider this, so let's say the center is somewhere here. So this being 15 and this being 20, this entire thing would be 35, right? So I hope you understood opposite side of the center. In this case, the distance is 35 centimeter. I hope you understood that the distance between the two parallel chords is either the sum of these two values or the difference of these two values. So that will always be the answer. Since that nothing is mentioned of that sort, so we have to go for either 5 or 35. So that is option C out here. So we don't know the placement, the relative placement of the two chords with respect to the center. Hopefully you liked the solutions we provided for these questions. And if you did like it, do not forget to like the video and share, subscribe, and comment. And if you plan to prepare with us in a structured manner, then do check the courses in our website. In the CAT comprehensive course, you will not only be prepared for each topic for CAT, XAT, NMAT, SNAP, IFT, but you will also have a one-to-one guidance and doubt clearing throughout your preparation. The workshops, mocks, and sectional tests will prepare you for strategy and decision making in the tests. The GDPI VAT preparation is also included in the course, making it a one-stop preparation hub for CAT and other management entrance tests of India. Take a trial of this course and check the way we have trained before you make the actual purchase. For both CAT as well as GMAT, we also offer the option to attend the classes live and one-to-one with mentor. Depending on whether you are preparing for CAT or GMAT, check the relevant course among these two. You will have the option to take the full course or customize the sessions as per your requirement. For instance, you may purchase the hours for just doubt clearing or mock analysis or any specific topic. Simply book a demo with us and have an experience of our one-to-one sessions. We also have mini courses, which we call the capsules, customized for you to select specific areas and train yourself. For each specialized area of training, you'll be trained everything from basics to all types of applications and variations of that particular topic. If you are looking to strengthen your understanding of specific areas of any section, which are tested in CAT, GMAT, or any other aptitude tests, then this will be the perfect course for you. Each capsule will have video lessons as well as practice sets covering all areas of that topic with video explanation of each question that are discussed in the practice sets. Every course at Mathoratory is designed to provide flexibility and complete support as per students' requirement. We will always be there to guide you and help you prepare as best as we can. Simply visit our website and check the relevant course. Book a demo with us or take a trial of the course and make the right choice as per your need. Thank you for joining in and have a pleasant preparation ahead.